Hey guys, today we're going to extend our real number properties to include identities and inverses. Now, if you think just a second here, for the identity, what number can you add to any number and the result is the number that you started with? What number can you add to any number and the result is the number that you started with? Well, logically, that would be 0, just like you thought. And so we refer to 0 as the additive identity. So when we mathematically state that, it would look something like A plus 0 equals A, because adding 0 did not change the A at all. So 0 is the additive identity. Likewise, if we think about multiplication, what number can you multiply by any number and the result is the same number? What number can you multiply by any number and the result is just the same? Well, you're right, it's 1. 1 times anything is just the same thing. So to mathematically state that, we would say A times 1 equals A because 1 is the multiplicative identity. Again, you've known those two things for a long time. They just sort of have formal names. Additive identity is 0. Multiplicative identity is 1. Now, the flip side of the coin is about inverses. And these are a little bit more complicated because, excuse me, every number has its own unique additive and multiplicative inverse. There's not just one number like 0 or one number like 1. Every number has a unique additive and multiplicative inverse. So to determine the additive inverse, you need to think about these three sort of number scenarios. What number can you add to 3 and get 0? What would you add to 3 to get a result of 0? What would you add to 5 to get a result of 0? And what would you add to a negative 8 to get a result of 0? So if you look at the pattern there, the pattern is you're going to add the opposite number to get a result of 0. So the answer to the above in general is the opposite number. So we say the additive inverse of a number is its unique opposite. And we can mathematically state that as A plus opposite A equals 0. So if A is 3, its additive inverse is negative 3, and the result is 0. But if A is negative 8, then its additive inverse is positive 8, but the result is still 0. So additive inverses are just a fancy name for opposites. Now, multiplicative inverses, we have to think in a little bit different way. What number do you multiply by 4 to get 1? 4 times what would give you 1? You have to think in terms of a reciprocal fraction. 7 times what would give you 1? Negative 3 times what would give you 1? And in each case, it is the reciprocal number. So we say the multiplicative inverse of a number is its reciprocal. So if we multiply 4 times its reciprocal 1/4, the result is 1. If we multiply negative 3 times its flipped over reciprocal negative 1/3, the result again is a positive 1. So multiplicative inverses again are unique, but they're reciprocals. Now, inverses and identities are definitely, though, tied together because notice back with additive inverses, when you add two additive inverses, you get the additive identity 0. And then likewise in multiplication, when you multiply two reciprocal numbers, two multiplicative inverses, the result is 1, which is the multiplication identity. So they're definitely tied together. Okay, so in conclusion then, identity numbers, which are sometimes called elements, the identity number for an operation results in the same number. So 0 is the additive identity for all real numbers, and 1 is the multiplicative identity for all real numbers. However, every real number has a unique additive and multiplicative inverse. Because 4 plus its opposite, -4, equals 0, that is a unique additive inverse. And because 4 times 1/4 equals 1, then that is a unique multiplicative inverse. Again, notice by adding additive inverses, you get the additive identity 0. And by multiplying multiplicative inverses, you get the multiplication identity 1. So again, nothing to shock your system. It's just giving names to these common results that you're used to. Okay? So, hope that is clear. You'll get a little bit of practice on this whole thing. Have a great rest of the day. See you tomorrow.